Hey, everybody. Have you always wondered and loved MLB Trade Deadline time? One of my favorite times as a kid. Still love it. You want to know why? Because that one big player always gets traded. And that one trade you never knew was going to happen always does. Who would have thought that Ken Griffey Jr. would have gone to the White Sox? Didn't make him better and probably made his name worse, but it still happened. This is a fun time again, folks. So here I am, Brandon Swanson, giving you my top 5 guys who will be traded before or at the trade deadline this year here in 2015. The summer, the rainiest summer that Chicago has had, I think, in ever. And I hate it. But enough of that. So at number 5, we're starting off Justin Upton. One guy who seems to be in trade rumors every other year because every year someone's outfield needs help and they know he loves changing cities. Actually, we have no idea if he does, but he does every other year. But people are looking at him. Right now, the Orioles, it's a top spot because all they have out there in the outfield is Adam Jones. They're looking for another bat. That's something that Upton can provide. 15 home runs this year. 49 RBIs. He's batting at .252. The Orioles would love to have, again, another bat and another guy to play the outfield. Upton could play different positions out there with Jones in center. He can move to left. He could move to right. But right now, Orioles, they're looking for some outfield help. Another one, the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pirates, I think, are one guy away from really making a move to catch the St. Louis Cardinals. Believe it or not, someone could catch the St. Louis Cardinals. About a month ago, no one thought anyone would catch up to the Cardinals because the Pirates, in second place, 8 games back. Yeah. I think it's all when the Cardinals lost to the White Sox 2 games in a row that the Pirates really started getting it going. They're like, if one of the worst teams in baseball can beat them, we can do this. So Justin Upton, number 5 guy, he will be traded. Orioles or Pirates. I think he stays in the National League. I think he goes to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Coming in at number 4, Jay Bruce. Jay Bruce for the Cincinnati Reds, who we are all being told, having a fire sale. Everyone's available, even the Bat Boy. But not Todd Frazier. Not our home run derby champion. Because if you win the home run derby, that means you are absolutely good and you're not tradable. At least, that's what I would think. But Jay Bruce right now, he could help a lot of clubs. But there's only one club I see him being a really good fit on, and that's the Kansas City Royals. Jay Bruce would fit in well in their outfield. Alex Gordon is out for 7 more weeks. They could use Bruce's bat. They could use him as an outfield guy. Jay Bruce, 14 homers, 46 RBIs midway through the season, another .252 batting average. I could totally see him ending up in Kansas City. Again, Cincinnati at 40-48. Right now, they're looking for a fire sale. Will they do it? A team that's looking for a fire sale so many times, how many times do we hear, oh, they're looking for a fire sale. They're going to sell. They're going to sell. And those losers don't make but one dumb trade. Pisses me off. Anywho, Jay Bruce, Kansas City. It's a good landing spot for him. At number 3, Johnny Cueto, another Red, because they're having this epic fire sale. 6-6, a 2.79 ERA. Johnny Cueto has been one of the most coveted pitchers in baseball this year. Where's he going? Well, whenever I hear of a guy who's really good and a pitcher, I think of the New York Yankees. Because why? Last couple of years, they've been in the market for pitching. CC Sabathia at 500 years old is really getting up there in age, and he's just not doing it. He's not getting it done. And there are other guys, they're not as good as what the Yankees thought they would be. New York's still up there at the very top, but there's other teams who could catch them. That AL East is wide open, I think. But Johnny Cueto, a couple of places I think he could go outside of the Yankees. New York's a spot. The Baltimore Orioles are another spot. And again, the Kansas City Royals. Their pitching is not as good this year as it was last year. They've got a couple of good guys, but the back end of the bullpen could really use some help. The back end of the bullpen, pardon me. The back end of the rotation could use some help, but so could the front. Johnny Cueto would easily, if he went to Kansas City, would put himself in the front, move a couple of guys back, and then all of a sudden, you've got a pretty solid group of guys as your front five. So I'm looking for Kansas City to possibly make a couple of big moves. Jay Bruce could be one of them. Johnny Cueto could be another. Just look out for it, folks. Could happen. If not, I'll blame someone else. Jonathan Papelbon, number 2, on the Philadelphia frickin' Phillies. I call them the frickin' Phillies because they're frickin' bad. Terrible. Who would have thought that the Philadelphia Phillies would be 30 games under 500 at the break? I'll tell you who. Nobody. Because everyone had hoped that Philly would be back this year. Even if they were 40-48, compared to what they were last year, that'd be a win for them. The Philadelphia Phillies really should be the team that's having the fire sale. Jonathan Papelbon has openly said that he doesn't want to be on the team, and he doesn't even consider himself a Philly. It's pretty bad. I'd get rid of him. And a team looking for a closer that doesn't have one? Well, I hope these fans don't get mad at me. The Chicago Cubs. The Chicago Cubs could definitely use Jonathan Papelbon. Only has 15 saves this year. I think he's probably only had 15 save opportunities. Their team has won 30-some games. Sounds about right. Jonathan Papelbon is going to be moving from the Philadelphia Phillies in a matter of days. He moves to the Chicago Cubs, and he'll love every bit of it. As the Chicago Cubs are going places. Words never spoken by a human being in the last 50 years. Finally, they're being spoken by a White Sox fan. It's a sad day. And the number one guy who's going to move, I'm sorry, it's pretty typical. Not typical, but everyone knows it. Cole Hamels. We've been talking about this move for 4 effing years. Oh, Cole Hamels is going to move. Cole Hamels is going to move this year. Cole Hamels. Tim Kirkjian, this is the year Cole Hamels is going to move. No, he didn't do it the last 4 years. Why? I don't know. The Phillies would have been in a better spot if they would have moved Papelbon and Hamels by this time, about 2 years ago. This year, Cole Hamels does move. Some places he could go again, the Orioles, the Yankees, but the place I think he's going, the Chicago Cubs. I think the Chicago Cubs get Papelbon. I think they get Hamels too. I mean, why not? Chicago Cubs are a team that's definitely going somewhere. This could put them over the hump. Again, they're trying to catch the Pirates. They're trying to catch the St. Louis Cardinals. The likelihood that the Cubs win that division in the Central, not good. The Cardinals are a very good team. But the likelihood that the Cubs get a wild card spot, I think it's great. The Cubs are going to the playoffs this year, but they need to make these moves. They make these moves, they get Papelbon, a sure closer, and a very solid one, and then a starter, and Cole Hamels, who, well, hasn't had the best season, but then again, he could, give up no runs and they'd still lose, and then the time that they'd score 8 runs, he'd give up 10. It wasn't really working out for him with the Phillies. 5-7 with a 3.91 ERA. He comes to Chicago. Again, he's going to help out an already really, really good starting 5. So again, Cole Hamels, my number one guy that's going to move this trade deadline season in the summer of 2015. Always a fun time. Now I'm going to give you a little bit on a guy who's not moving and why. So everyone looks at, right now, a starting pitcher that's a really good one. Jeff Samardzija on the Chicago White Sox. A team, let's be honest, going nowhere this year. Going nowhere next year. Maybe in the third year they will. But the Chicago White Sox right now, they're not in a rebuilding mode. I'm going to use a Ken Williams term. We're retooling. Bullshit. You're rebuilding. Anywho, off of that. Jeff Samardzija is not going to move this trade deadline season. Why? He's going to be a free agent in the summer. I feel like the White Sox think that they could get some useful starts out of Samardzija, maybe end the season on a high note. maybe in the second half on a high note. They'll see what happens with Jeff Samardzija. If Samardzija ends his season really well, I think the White Sox will make him an offer in free agency. If not, well, he's going somewhere else. But I don't think the White Sox want to give up just yet. Everything I've been looking at, they don't want to sell. They don't want to sell. They're listening to offers. Sale's not going anywhere. Jeff Samardzija, I think, is staying pat this trade deadline season. And I don't think he is going to be moving anywhere. Will he be a White Sox come this offseason? Probably not. Probably not. So that's it, folks. Those are the top 5 guys I think are going to be moving this trade deadline season. But as always, there's going to be that one blockbuster deal that blindsides you. And as a fan, you go, whoa, I didn't even think about that. David Price, for instance, last season. No idea he would be going to the Tigers. But he did. And guess what happened to the Tigers? They didn't go anywhere. And that made me so very happy. But this year, Kansas City, look out for them in the trade deadline season. I'm telling you, Kansas City's going to be making some really good moves. The winners here in trade deadline season, here at the end, when it's all said and done, the 2 winners from the AL, NL, if done correctly, let me tell you, I should be a general manager right now. The Kansas City Royals from the American League, the Chicago Cubs from the National League. Both of those teams will be back in the playoffs this year. The Cubs will be there for the first time in 1,000 years, and the Royals will be there first time since last season. So 2 years in a row for them. That's impressive. Folks, thanks so much for tuning in. You can follow me on Twitter at young_swan19. I'm sure I'll have plenty of stuff to say as we get closer to the trade deadline. This has been a lot of fun. Why don't you come back again soon? So long.
Don't forget that we started a Patreon page. Go to patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcasts to check out all of our reward options. Remember, you can still get our content for free by subscribing to our YouTube page. But if you want to support us financially, now you can be rewarded for doing so. The link's in the description. What are you waiting for?